Welcome to the Eacop Climate Talks, supported by African Media Grants and run by Vanguard News with its partners, AIFE Uganda. This series of podcasts is focusing on creating awareness and starting a conversation about the adverse effects of the yet-to-be longest-heated crude oil pipeline in the world, the Eacop, on the environment, the people, and the biodiversity that lies along its anticipated route. We will listen in to opinions of experts and enthusiasts in the environmental space.
My name is Eacop Brighton. I work with Youth for Green Communities. It is a youth-led organization that was started by university students in 2017, and it was registered in 2020. Mainly, the organization is committed to bring young people on board to influence better environment and natural resource governance. So we work with universities, we work with other tertiary and learning institutions, majorly to bring young people to come and take part in conserving the environment and in resource utilization. Because what's happening now is the trends of climate that is happening, which is most likely to, it is already destroying the current generation, and it will be selfish if young people if we sit down and be reluctant to act. We are going to be greedy and selfish to the coming generation. We've been running campaigns. We've been running campaigns against Eacop, which is one of the heated pipelines over the world, and it has come with so many impacts that are never said. This is a pipeline that crosses that is as long as 1,443 kilometers. It passes in very many areas of natural importance, crosses water bodies, forests, crosses national parks, critical biodiversity areas. And of course, now what is happening, what are the impacts? Of course, you look at the impacts and look at the benefits. Yes, of course, we all love development. As youth, we want jobs. But which kind of jobs do we want? Do we want sustainable jobs that are going to feed our generation and the generations to come? Is the pipeline giving that? Because already we see people that are supposed to benefit from it are already suffering. There are cases in the High Court where people are seeking for compensation. Those who were compulsorily displaced from their land to pave way for oil development. So those are issues we are looking. We are looking at climate change, because this is a pipeline that is going to be producing over 100,000 million metric tons. And of course, as a country, as the world, we are trampling with the impacts of climate change. So there are things that we want them to be addressed before we continue or before we proceed with this pipeline. We've had, of course, our country, Uganda, together with Tanzania, government of Tanzania, together with major oil players, Total Energies and SNOC, signing agreements. They signed 3 agreements last year in April. They signed one this year, the final investment decision. But of course, they didn't even disclose the people funding it. Why? Because this is a project that is too hard. Even the investors are scared. So I personally, with the group I work with, which is the young people of Uganda, because we have so many ambassadors from different regions in the country, and we are doing what we can so that we can ensure that we have green environments. We have we have a green economy. So the alternatives we are giving, instead of the government investing in green energy, instead of investing in oil activities, we've been depending on agriculture. Literally, when you look at our GDP, around 24+%, we are dependent on agriculture. The agriculture sector supports over 7.4 million people, million households. They depend on agriculture. So, but we are looking at the Eacop and generally the oil activities affecting that sector. We are looking at tourism. This is starting from the Albert Basin. That is where the major, oil exploitation will take place. Lake Victoria. So those are areas for fishing. What will happen to the fisheries? Because we all know the impacts of oil, the impacts of gas on living things like fish. So this is what is worrying us. We're looking at tourism, the sector. This is This is the Eacop that is passing, it is crossing over forests, over national parks. So are we willing to risk that as Ugandans? Then what happens to the future generation? So I think I call young people to come and act, and also implore and urge the government to look at the alternatives that we have. So we call them to come and invest in tourism. We call them to come and invest in green economic activities, because they are there and they have been feeding us. What we need is just more investment to create more jobs, and to make sure that we have that we don't have food insecurities. Because the moment we invest in those green economies and we create a green economy, then that's an economy that is sustainable for not just our generation, but even the generation to come. So as young people, speaking on youth from universities, from local communities, we are saying we are not against development. But what we are saying is we are not supporting development that is killing the future generation, because that would be selfish of us. That's why we are not going to accept to have this pipeline as long as the issues that we are raising are not addressed. So we need to look at how best we can engage young people, how best we can engage local communities and resolve those already happening environmental and community rights violations and abuses that are happening in those communities. We need to look at our areas of natural importance, the forests and other ecosystems that are being affected, and we need to look at other alternatives so that we can have a sustainable development of Uganda as a country. So I call on young people to get into open debates on the oil sector. It's a new sector, and we come up with solutions whether we want it or not. But of course, at the moment, when you weigh the benefits and the negatives that are happening right now, at the moment it is still a curse. So we don't need to be blinded by the benefits that everyone is coming and telling you about. No, you have to look at the long term. And the long term, you're looking at climate, we're looking at environment, and you're looking at the rights of the people hosting those oil activities.
Thank you for listening in. Follow us on social media to keep the conversation going.